I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to Ozark City Hall. We're glad you're here for the Board of Aldermen meeting and engaging with your elected officials. Listening to perspectives of city residents, business owners, and other community members helps our elected leaders make more informed decisions. Before the meeting begins, let's review our rules of order. These ensure the meeting is orderly and efficient while allowing everyone who would like to speak an opportunity to do so. There are two opportunities for you to speak: during the agenda's scheduled visitor and guest portion of the meeting and during public discussion of new bills and resolutions. During the agenda's scheduled visitor and guest portion, anyone who signed up at the city clerk's office before 5 p.m. the Wednesday before the meeting can speak to aldermen about the topic they specified. Now, in the public discussion of new bills and resolutions, that allows you to give comments for aldermen to consider before they make a decision. The consent agenda bills are not open to comment. If you want to speak about an item on the consent agenda, you must sign up by noon the Friday before the meeting. You can do that by contacting the city clerk in writing or fill out a card in the council chambers before the meeting starts. Write down the specific bill and give the card to the city clerk before the consent agenda is set. That bill will then go to a first reading, which is open to public discussion, and anyone may speak about it. Anytime anyone is speaking, the following rules apply. First, only one person should speak at a time. Please be respectful of the person speaking and hold your comments until it's your turn. Second, anyone speaking must do so from the podium and speak into the microphone. Third, you must first provide your name and address in writing to the city clerk before beginning your comments. These forms are provided near the entrance. You also must state your name and address to the Board of Aldermen using the podium microphone. Fourth, all comments should be addressed to the mayor and aldermen. Finally, all speakers have 5 minutes to make their comments. The mayor or alderman may have additional questions for speakers after their 5-minute time limit. Occasionally, the board will invite someone to make a presentation at the meeting. This is only to give information to the board about a specific topic. These presenters will have no time limit on giving their information. This meeting will be live streamed and recorded with video and audio unless there are technical difficulties. The use of cell phones or other devices is discouraged during the meeting. Please silence your phones right now. Again, thank you for being here and engaging with the City of Ozark. The meeting will begin shortly.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Aiken.
Here.
Alderman Campbell.
Here.
Alderman Galloway.
Here.
Alderman Hutchinson.
Here.
Alderman Metcalf.
Here.
Alderman Snyder.
Here.
We have 6 aldermen present. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. We have just one set of minutes tonight to review. This is from the January 20th, 2026 regular session. Are there any questions regarding these minutes as printed? Not seeing. I entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the January 20th, 2026 regular session as printed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Metcalf, second by Alderman Galloway regarding the minutes. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss the January 20th, 2026 regular session minutes, do so by show of hands. And that does carry. There's no ceremonial matters tonight, and we do have a scheduled visitor night, Landon Rowland. This is your time. Okay, I was looking for him, so I guess he's not here. I do want to make a comment. We appreciate tonight the Boy Scout troop being here tonight. They're working on their governmental merit badge, and so they're here to observe and see how we function as a government, and so appreciate you all taking the time and being with us tonight. Okay, our next item is a consent agenda, and at this time, the city clerk, has anyone signed up to speak on either Bill 3734 or 3735 on the consent agenda?
No one has signed up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any two aldermen who wish for Bill 3734 or 3735 to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay, I am not seeing any. So the next item on agenda tonight is the consent agenda. I need a motion and a second to set the consent agenda for bills 3734 and 3735.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor to set the consent agenda for bills 3734 and 3735, do so with a raised hand. Anyone? No one's opposed, so that motion carries. Okay. Now we need a motion and a second to read the consent agenda, Bill 3734 and 3735 by title twice.
So moved.
Okay. And we have a second?
Second. Second.
Okay. So motion made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor to read bills number 3734, 3735 and consent agenda by title twice, do so with a raised hand. And that does carry.
An ordinance of the City of Ozark, Missouri, authorizing the city to enter into a contract with PC Outlet, Inc., DBA PC Solutions for information technology services. An ordinance of the City of Ozark, Missouri, authorizing the city to enter into a contract with Rio Contracting LLC for construction services related to fashion soffit repair at the Ozark Community Center. And again, an ordinance of the City of Ozark, Missouri, authorizing the city to enter into a contract with PC Outlet, Inc., DBA PC Solutions for information technology services. An ordinance of the City of Ozark, Missouri, authorizing the city to enter into a contract with Rio Contracting LLC for construction services related to fashion soffit repair at the Ozark Community Center.
Okay, thank you. Now we need a motion and a second to approve Bill 3734 to become ordinance 26-015 and for Bill 3735 to become ordinance 26-016.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Aiken.
Aye.
Alderman Campbell.
Aye.
Alderman Galloway.
Aye.
Alderman Snyder.
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson.
Aye.
Alderman Metcalf.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. We're now going to move to second reading and final passage of bills. We have 3 of those tonight. The first bill on second reading is bill number 3729.
Yes, Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3729 on its second reading by title and brief description only.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is to place bill number 3729 on second reading by title only. That motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Aiken. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss bill 3729, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance of the City of Ozark, Missouri, amending the zoning code and official map by changing the zoning classification of certain real property located at 1308 South 3rd Street.
Okay, at this time we recognize our Director Randall Whitman.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. I don't have anything to add to this agenda item, but be glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay. Any questions from the board? I'm not seeing, thank you, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, I make a motion that we adopt bill number 3729 as ordinance number 26017.
Second.
Okay. The motion is that we adopt bill 3729 to become ordinance 26-017. That motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Aiken. Roll call, please.
Alderman Snyder.
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson.
Aye.
Alderman Aiken.
Aye.
Alderman Metcalf.
Aye.
Alderman Campbell.
Aye.
Alderman Galloway.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Now draw attention to our second bill, which is bill number 3730.
Yes, Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3730 on its second reading by title and brief description only.
Do we have a second?
Second.
The motion is that we place bill number 3730 on its first reading, on its second reading by title only. That motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Aiken. All in favor of the motion to discuss bill 3730, do so by showing hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance amending the corporate boundaries of the city of Ozark, Missouri by annexing an approximately 10.02 acre parcel of real property located at 2511 North 24th Street.
Okay, well, welcome back, Director Randall.
As before, I have nothing new to add for this agenda item either, but I'll answer any questions if you have one.
Okay, well, good. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, I make a motion that we adopt Bill number 3730 as ordinance number 26-018.
We have a second.
Second.
The motion is that we adopt Bill 3730 to become ordinance 26-018. That motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Hutchinson. Roll call, please.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson. Aye. Alderman Aiken,
Aye.
Alderman Campbell,
Aye.
Alderman Metcalf,
Aye.
Alderman Snyder.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Our last second reading bill is Bill number 3731.
Yes, Your Honor, I move that we place Bill number 3731 on its second reading by title and brief description only.
And seconded by,
Second.
okay. The motion is we place Bill number 3731 on its second reading by title only. That motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss Bill 3731, do so by show of hands, please. And that does carry.
An ordinance of the city of Ozark, Missouri, amending the zoning code and official map by changing the zoning classification of certain real property located at 2511 North 24th Street.
And this time, we'll welcome back one more time.
This is my
Our
final
director.
time to come up here, and I have nothing to add to this bill either. But if there's
Okay.
any questions.
And we do have Alderman Galloway.
Well, in light of our guests who are learning about civics, how legislation is made, they're hearing a lot of titles and
Yeah.
ayes and nays, but I was wondering if you could just briefly explain what these bills 3730 and 3731, well, ordinance 26018 and bill 3731, what they do, about where the land is located and why it's appropriate to annex and zone according to our different factors.
And I was going to add that to the people, I'm willing to come to a meeting and explain consent agenda, first reading, second reading, all the different bills and all what we did tonight. If you want me to come, help explain further. We can talk afterwards.
Well, I would be glad to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know if Marie is able to pull my presentation up, which, there we go. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, so that helps quite a bit. But there's 2 agenda items here. They kind of go in concert together. The first that you mentioned is a proposal to annex or bring certain property into the city limits of Ozark. In this case, it's 10 acres that's surrounded by the city proper. The entire city surrounds it all the way around, and the property owner wants to be a citizen of the city of Ozark and have their property served by utilities. They want to pay taxes. They want to benefit from the services the city has to offer. So they've petitioned you all in the Planning and Zoning Commission to be members of the city. So this was a public hearing where people could make comment. You all have heard some facts, some findings of facts from the Planning and Zoning Commission, a little bit of history from our comprehensive plan. And tonight you're having your second consideration of that bill to annex this property. So the second agenda item in this sequence is to rezone the property that was just annexed a few minutes ago. So rezoning it basically takes it from a county zoning district to a city zoning district. In this case, they want to have a single family house there, or that somebody wants to live there in a home. And cities have zoning districts that qualify what people can do on their property to prevent issues and things like that from businesses sitting next to residential homes and manufacturing things that cause irritation and compromise property values and things like that. So in this case, the property owner having annexed into the city, they want to live there. They want to have a home and have a residential lifestyle, if you will. So they've asked the city to zone it single family or for a single family home. So that's what you're about to vote on and consider that zoning change. How does that But
Good.
decent?
Yeah, wonderful. It came from Planning and Zoning, which is a commission that's made up of citizens of City of Ozark. The application was made there. They approved it. They were applying our ordinances, and among the things that they look at in annexing is it with really close to our boundaries? And actually, it's our boundaries are, I think, on 3 sides of this property. And because it is so adjacent to our city limits, they recommended annexation. And then on zoning, it's presently agriculture, but it's in a area that has single-family residences. And the applicant wants to be a single-family resident, so it really doesn't change much for the adjacent owners in terms of things that would adversely impact them and kinds of use. Did I get that right? How did I do?
You did great.
I repeat real well. All right, thank you.
Good. Any other from the board? Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, I make a motion that we adopt Bill number 3731 as ordinance number 26-019.
We have a second by,
Second.
okay. The motion is that we adopt Bill 3731 to become ordinance 26-019. That motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Snyder. Roll call, please.
Alderman Metcalf,
Aye.
Alderman Campbell,
Aye.
Alderman Snyder,
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson.
Aye.
Alderman Aiken,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Now we're going to move to first reading, and this is a formal public hearing bill, and this is bill number 3736.
And I move to place Bill 3736 on first reading by title only.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to go this way. Okay, so the motion is that bill number 3736 be placed on its first reading by title only. That motion was made by Alderman Aiken. It was seconded by Alderman Campbell. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss bill 3736, do so by show of hands, please. And that does carry.
An ordinance of the City of Ozark, Missouri, adjusting sewer charge rates.
Okay. Now the public hearing for bill number 3736 is now open. At this time, our Public Works Director, Jeremy Parkson, you have the floor.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Mr. Galloway, I hope the audience is going to see how the sausage is made on this one. This is, as you said, first reading, and I wanted to start by saying, on the 18th of December, we brought to you a non-legislative session, a plan to move forward with our rate study and some suggested rate changes. Tonight, what we're doing, because of the way our ordinances are structured, is we're bringing sewer to you. Sewer requires that we provide a 30-day notice, and it also provides that it goes through the ordinance process. Brenna had to kind of help me through this because it has been a while since we've made any type of rate adjustment. So tonight, what you'll see is the first reading of the sewer. At a later date, we will actually bring the water rate increase to you as a resolution. But I just wanted to get that straight as we're going through this and kind of jump in here. And I'll try not to repeat myself too much, but this is a very important topic, and I hope this works there. Oops. Okay. All right, so let's get started. First of all, the city takes a lot of pride and a lot of ownership in what we do as a utility provider. And again, that's what we are in public works. We take care of water, street, sewer. We also take care of GIS. We take care of a lot of things, but we proudly take care of something that all the residents rely on, and that's water and sewer. And it has been a long time since we've come to you with a great study where we've actually analyzed the data and tried to come to you with a path forward. As you know, we're a city that continues to grow. Recently, we were challenged. Let's take a look into the future. Let's see what that holds. Let's take a comprehensive look at all of these different matters when we go into our scope and our rate study. So it's not just looking at one specific set of data. We take all of these into consideration, and I won't list them all. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that this wasn't done just at a staff level. This was also done with our consultants. It was Cochran Engineering. Tim Shelby's with us tonight. He is our primary point of contact and resident engineer on this project. We also have a couple people online, if you will. We've got TJ Gard, and I think Dave Van Leer maybe. I think he's okay. All right. He said he would jump in, but he sounded horrible this afternoon. So we're going to go with Tim and TJ. How about that? But just as a reminder, water and sewer, as you know, is critical. We've got a few of our members of our crew in the audience tonight. We take a lot of pride in this. We were recently charged with the CIP study, which is a capital improvement plan as well. That is just another set of data that we use to try to project growth and understand how we can better take care of our citizens. I'm not going to lie, this is a heavy topic. This is one that, again, water has not been brought to you since technically 2013, and then that moved forward to 2015. The last time we talked about sewer rates was 2020. So this is one of those things that we often take for granted, quite honestly. So let's give you a utility system overview. We'll fly through this. A lot of you know this, but maybe some of the audience know. We take care of 2 different wastewater treatment plants, 12 different lift stations, which helps us collect and distribute that sewer to our wastewater treatment facilities. We take care of a lot of pipe underground. And that's one of the things that kind of makes Ozark unique is we're sprawled out, we've got some hilly topography, and that's why we have a number of wells and a number of towers to serve that. So we're going to be talking about water and sewer in the rate study, but we're going to specifically focus on sewer tonight. I've already covered this. It's been a while. So again, we had to go back through the process and make sure that we're following everything correctly. This is key, and this is probably the motivating factor of why we're here this evening. What I boil it down to is just the cost of doing business. As the years progress and as we continue to grow, we've done a lot of things to try to maximize our efficiency. We do that through technology, force multipliers, SCADA systems. You all have heard a lot about SCADA systems. They alert us when things are going on. We run a pretty lean and mean operation, but there's certain factors that are beyond our control. And the big one is inflation. And we've all experienced that. We're seeing it slow down a little bit. But as I said in the first meeting, the times prior to COVID, those prices are never coming back. The prices have escalated significantly. And then another thing for a cost of doing business, all of these facilities rely on either electric or gas to power them. So to pull that water out of the ground, that's coming through large wells and pumps to pull that water, put it up into those storage tanks. Our lift stations to bring all of that to our wastewater treatment facilities. So these are big factors that really can increase the cost of doing business. A recent example, some of you were here when we did the 2017 elevated storage tank, which is over by Walgreens. We were able to put that in the air for about $3 to $4 million. We are now pricing a similar elevated storage tank on the northeast side of town. From 2017 to now, we're projecting that somewhere between $7 and $9 million. So you can see that it's sort of escalated, and that's industry-wide. So with that too, over the last several years, many of you know that we've also seen increases in utility costs in terms of Liberty. I think the PSC finally settled on an upcoming utility rate. It looks like it's going to be over a 3-year program, but that will impact us as well. But these increased costs, I should say, do have an impact on our utility system. Sewer income expenses, I just won't spend too much time here, but I want you to see that, basically, you're seeing that our expenses are starting to outpace our revenues, our incomes. We've been able to kind of handle this because of a few factors. One of them is we had healthy reserves. Two, as the board knows, we actively go after grants and ARPA funds. And those are game changers to us because that's money on the table that we can put towards our system. So these are the types of factors that will catch your eye. Well, when we consider this, we not only consider the cost of doing business, we also consider growth. And, you know, depending on your outlook on growth, I think growth is a good thing. And I think you all should be proud of creating an environment where growth wants to occur. People want to live here. We're seeing a lot of in-migration. We're seeing people come here because of the school systems, because of the affordability, because of the quality of life. So we take in population growth, in-migration. We look at our operating expenses and how we're handling those. We look at our long-term debt obligations. All of these things come into play. And then with our new capital improvement plan, it lays out the next 5 years of what we have to do. These aren't wants, these are needs in order to keep up with this demand. So all of these things are factors that we consider when we work through. I don't have to tell you that we're growing, we continue to grow. Again, people want to be here. I would rather be on this side of things. You know, you see so many small communities that lose one business and it negatively impacts their entire community. We're blessed with the opposite, but with that comes a responsibility. With that comes a responsibility to make sure that we grow in a proper manner. And that means smart growth, managed growth, sustainable growth. So you hear us talk about that a lot. So you can see us going on. It just amazes me when you look back at the population in 1990 and where we are now. As I get a little older, 1990, that seems so far. It was a good year, actually. So we continue to grow. We're seeing a lot inside the city limits. And we will continue to see that because we have so much infill opportunity. We'll also see some outside of city limits, just simply because of the way our city is structured. We service both inside and outside. You can see those numbers there. You can see the growth. The long story short here is we are continuing to see growth and people want to live here. Just some more numbers for us to consider. I want you to know that this is all data driven. These aren't pie in the sky. These are actually pretty conservative numbers when it comes to population growth. But again, what's driving this tonight? I think it's really comes down to the cost of doing business. And we wouldn't be doing our job if we just stuck our head in the sand and said, it's going to get better, it's going to get better. We have got to do the forecasting necessary to make sure that we can continue to service our citizens the way they expect and the way they have come to expect. I personally, I may be a little biased, I think we run a heck of a utility company here. I think we do a good job of getting water and sewer. I think we do a good job of reacting to what the citizens need. And it is a 24/7 job, and I'm not up here to take any of the credit for that. The people that you have working for you in public works and city staff, amazing. Like I said, you gotta have the heart of a servant, high of our announcers. So, I'm getting all these old sayings. Basically, all of these things come into play. We do have some good news. Back in around 2006, the city was faced with something very similar to what some of our surrounding communities were faced with, that are faced with right now. And that's, we were growing so fast that we had to quickly build Elk Valley Treatment Plant. That was a big move for this city. And some of that long-term debt is now beginning to be retired. Some of those bonds that were issued to build that plant are now beginning to be retired. So that basically means that debt is coming off the books. So that helps us in a way, but it also, every time something falls off the books, it seems like something comes comes back on, and that's just the nature of growth. We have a very strong capital plan. We've gone over this in several meetings, but you all know our priorities, you know our challenges, you know our opportunities. And again, that capital improvement plan lays that out. We're really diving into some of these key projects right now with the EDA grant that we're going after. Again, we're going to look at every type of financing, be it grants. ARPA's gone, but thank God we had ARPA for a while there. It's good to know, I can tell you Greg's happy, it's good to go to bed at night and know that there's no sewer going underneath the Finley River. We're all sleeping a little bit better on that. So we've had some big wins, but we also have some big challenges ahead of us, and that's what we're here to talk about and how we do that. So when we put this plan together, we quickly found out that over the next 10 years, we have about $104 million worth of projects that need to be tackled just to keep up, not only with growth, but with aging infrastructure. Because of the extent of our infrastructure, we have an old downtown. You've seen us put a lot of money into this downtown, and rightfully so. It's the heart of the community. I love our downtown. We are now set up with fire protection. We're set up to grow. And we're going to have to continue to take care of some of these other neighborhoods around our core district. Our existing sewer rates, I can confidently say to you, we are a very affordable utility company. When you compare us to other municipalities, on the whole, other municipalities are about 32% higher than the city of Ozark. And I'll draw your attention there to one that kind of stands out. And I've actually got some slides about Republic. But they're in a situation that we were in back in 2006. That was prior to anybody, I think, that was on the staff at that time. Eddie, were you here in 2006? As far as on the board?
No, I came on a year or two later.
Okay. So it outdates pretty much everything. But you can see, we're kind of in that sweet spot. Back with 32%. Everybody else is 32% higher. What we're recommending to you all to keep up with this growth and to keep up with the cost of doing business is an incremental increase. And that's something that Eric challenged us from day one. Our new city our year and a half city administrator came to us and said, hey, what do your plans look like? And we showed him with pride our water plan, our sewer plan. And he said, how about a rate study? I said, okay, we'll get on there. And that simply takes all of that data and shows how we can get to that point to where we can make those capital investments in our future. So what we're showing you tonight is kind of an incremental approach. I'll tell you this, almost all municipalities are gone to the incremental approach. It is a much better approach because it's no different than the stock market. The stock market loves predictability. People love to know that, hey, I've got a set increase. I know what's coming. I can budget for that appropriately. And that's where we need to get to, as opposed to waiting for 10, 15 years even to make these increases. You say, what does that do to us? Well, right now, we're doing just fine. We've got some pretty low monthly bills. I'll toggle back and forth here, focus on the top one. Currently, an average customer spends about $29.18 in the city limits. With that increase, they spend about $34.29. I'm going to go ahead and show what that would be. If you extrapolate that out to 2035, I've got the numbers right here, so I can just summarize those for you. But basically, you're looking at in the year of 2025 or 2026 with those increases, roughly about an $11 increase. And I'll challenge you, over the last 10, even 5 years, it's been difficult to find another bill or another utility in your life, another necessity in your life that you haven't seen increase on a monthly basis. And that's what we're here tonight, to make sure that we do not get too far behind and that we continue to grow in a sustainable manner. There's that number on the sewer side. Typically, right now, and this is based upon 4,500 gallons, that's typically what we see the average customer use. That's $38 on the sewer side. And again, that's well below our average. And you can see all the comps that we use in this area. And I'll keep going here. As we dove into this and as we took all the data and we looked at where we're headed and where we need to be, we simply said, hey, we've got a lot to do over the next 10 years. By delaying this, it would just increase what we have to do 2 or 3 years from now. It's time to get caught up. It's time to make sure that we can make the improvements that these people rely upon day in, day out. And it's time that we can continue to build for the future. 1990, like I said, it seemed like a great time, but unfortunately, some people want to build the wall of Jericho around this place and just keep it like it was. It's not going to happen. Again, you should be proud of that because you created an environment where people want to live, work, and play. And we're going to continue to see that. We don't want to get into this situation. This is one of those slides that just, we don't want to get there. And that's why we're here tonight. We're trying to be proactive in the sense that we don't want to get to 2028 and our reserves no longer be in place. In fact, our goal is to strive to not only have reserves, but have about $5 million in reserves, and that's because of best management practices. You really need about 6 months of operating capital on hand, operating funds on hand, in case something does happen. That's what best management practices recommends, that's what our auditor would recommend, and I'm sure that's what Perry Edna would recommend. So we've got to get to that point. I talked to you a little bit about one of our surrounding communities, and I don't want in any way for this to come across as disparaging. We have all seen the growth that has occurred in the public. We have seen the businesses that they've attracted, but we're also seeing the cost of that growth. And this is a tough table to read, so let me break it down for you in another slide. Some of the things that they're having to do is not only build a completely new sewer treatment plant and increase the capacity, but they're also having to put a lot more storage in the air. When you build those large industrial complexes, they require fire protection. And if you look at some of the increases up there, and again, I'm not in any way disparaging their neighbor, we love working with them, but we don't want to get to this point. And it's just a case study in saying, hey, let's get ahead of this before we get to that point. Because they are facing some tough decisions right now, just as every other community is in the region. I can tell you that over 90% of the communities in the region have had an increase just within the last 3 years. Almost 100% of the communities that we utilized in this study have seen an increase in the last 5 years. And there's a reason that price point is where it's at. When we go back to the graph that kind of shows where we're at and where we're projected to be with that raise in potential raise in revenue, that is what it costs to maintain and operate a facility. That right there, you can see there's a sweet spot in there. And that doesn't just arbitrarily occur. That happens because that is the cost of doing business. So we have got to get to that point where we can maintain, operate, and grow. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions. I know we covered a lot of this. I'm going to have to go here, and if I get too pinned in more, I'll put it on Tim. How about that?
Okay, Snyder is first.
Jeremy, how did you come up with a 17.5 initial increase?
So all that, when we talk about all the different studies that we did, we took into consideration our needs, our existing conditions, all of those studies from the CIP to our operating versus our expenses, all of those factors. I'll try to get to that slide that shows you everything that was considered here. But it wasn't just an arbitrary number that was thrown in there. It was taking into consideration the known maintenance that we need to do and also the improvements that we need to make to our system. It's all the way back in front and it's getting there. But it is a comprehensive approach and a data-driven approach. And it's something that we simply just couldn't look at our expenses versus revenues. We also had to factor in our growth, our usage, our projected capital improvements that we have to do, the maintenance and the maintenance costs, keeping those reserves, all of those factors are put into that spreadsheet. And then we determine what it would take to keep us operating at a healthy level.
Well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and again, I'm not taking a stab at the water department. You guys do a phenomenal job. You really do. However, when my numbers add up in that time frame that we're talking about, that's almost a 37% increase over the next 6 years. Is that correct?
So actually, over the next 10 years.
10 years?
Yes, we're looking at a 17.5% increase in 2026, an 8.5% increase in 2027. From the years 2028 to 2030, it'll be 5% annually, and then a 2% growth rate from, 2% annual from 2031 to 2035.
Would there be any way to tinker with that number and even those numbers out over the next few years to where they're more level going
I
up?
will tell you this, this is something that we're going to have to bring back to the board on an annual basis. And as we continue to go after grants, other types of funding, those needs may change. We're not set up currently to where we can approve rate increases all the way to 2035. We're just showing you the plan. What you're voting on tonight is just 2026 and the rate increase in that. We'll have to come back to the board each year the way we're currently set up. And we're going to bring that same data to you and say, here's what you're recommending. And tinkering, possibly, yeah, depends on what the data says. It won't be arbitrary tinkering, but it will be based upon our needs. And if in that year we have a catastrophic failure at one of the wastewater treatment facilities, I can't tell you that they won't ask for more than that, 8.5. It's like any other business, no matter what business you run. If you get into a situation where you've had to outlay a significant amount of capital due to equipment failure or some other, you've got trucks and they broke down, all of those things. But each year will come to you.
No, I appreciate the answers on that. Thank you.
Okay, Alderman Aiken.
What would you say to the average Joe citizen who says, well, looking at those graphs over the past several years, there have been some years with some deficits, there's been some years with some surplus, you've been able to make up some of those margins by going after those force multipliers and those grants and building in those efficiencies. What would you say to me with the Joe citizen who says, well, you just want a rate increase and to pass these expenses onto the user so you no longer have to go after the grants and after the force multipliers?
Yeah, I would fall back on the cost of doing business. If we go back to that graph, Alderman Aiken, you can see that our expenses are outpacing our revenues. And yes, we have good years and we have bad years, and primarily that's due to, hey, maybe we did get a grant, or maybe on a bad year we had a catastrophic failure. A bad day at the sewer treatment plant can cost you $1 million. I mean, that's the type of equipment that you're dealing with. And I think for us to be fiscally responsible and for us to build up the reserves that we need to function as a utility provider, we have to take these measured steps. And we have to get to a point where the predictability is there too. Those incremental increases. All of us here, hopefully you're familiar with the cost of living rates. That takes into consideration inflation. And basically that just brings you back to an even point. we're catching up on some of that massive inflation. But I would tell the average citizen too, that we will not stop looking for other means and methods of trying to obtain funding, of trying to obtain grants. I'm telling you that these user rates will put us in a position where we can manage what we have in the ground and we can grow in a responsible manner.
Yes, Alderman Metcalf.
Yeah, so I don't want to pick on Republic either. So they have a lot, they have a lot of large businesses and warehouses that went in. You talk about fire protection, they had to, the infrastructure, they just had to grow with those businesses. And it could seem like because of that rapid growth, that the outcome is that their rates had to go up. So everybody in Republic now is paying higher sewer and water rates because they said yes to Amazon and Convoy and okay, these type of places. What I would want to prevent is Ozark experiencing the same thing in the future. So having an incremental rate increase plan in place, could that afford our community to grow and take on businesses without experiencing in 10 years having to do what Republic is doing now?
You just summarized our goal. I mean, we do not want to get into a situation where we outpace our growth, where we're playing catch up from the standpoint of making those capital investments. So everything that we're showing you today is in effort to make sure that we don't do that to our citizens.
Thank you.
Okay. Galloway.
Yeah, referring to that 17.5% initial increase, I'm just going to ask, from observing that bar chart that you had up there where expenses exceeded income for our system, it looks like for the past, was it 4 years? I don't have the bar chart right in front of me. It was it was pretty significant. It was, there you go.
There.
No, it's 5 years. Yeah. And then, of course, that's happening at a time we know that all these costs that go into construction have been raising cost way higher than what we even see at the grocery store. It just occurs to me that if you're in that kind of spending environment, that some things are going to have to be let go in those 5 years of time. As part of that 17.5% increase, a way of catching our infrastructure up.
Yeah, it is. It's a combination of catching up, and it does take into consideration some of that debt that falls off as well. In this plan, we have a very specific 10-year capital plan, and that's prioritized based upon our needs. Some of those needs are all about rehabilitation. A lot of this is not so much about expanding. We've expanded. It's about infill and taking care of these opportunities that we have so that we can more efficiently utilize the system of infrastructure that we have. But that will get us to a point where we feel like we're in a fiscal spot where we can not only manage growth, but manage the systems that we have in place right now as well.
Yeah, the Republic situation is not quite parallel with ours in that they took on quite a bit of commercial development right at once with major development, and that put a lot of strain. They had to catch up, but the impact on all the ratepayers for their community, as I recall that graph you showed, was 95% increase. And so I guess while that isn't an exact parallel, but the point could be made is that if you continue to underfund infrastructure development here in Ozark, as has been the trend over 5 years, beginning with COVID, your infrastructure will deteriorate to the point where your ratepayer is going to have to have an increase of substantially more than 17.5 or 37%. Similar to Republic in that sense, for different reasons, they could get to a jump substantially more if we're not careful here.
We don't want to get into that situation. And again, this is not looking negatively at any of our partners or neighbors. They grew very rapidly, and quite frankly, they're going to have to catch up to service all of our industry.
And I think we can also point out we've had a change in administration, and with this present administration, it has brought this infrastructure issue to the board's attention for us to address. But I guess the concern is that if, my concern is the senior citizen with limited income where $11 or $20 is significant for them, or whatever the difference would be. And I guess the price of waiting or of not doing anything, of not increasing it to the level now, is that we could, I think about that 95% figure for Republic, we could potentially double or more what that poor ratepayer is going to have to deal with because we didn't do anything as this was presented to us.
That's a great way of putting it. Back to, sticking our heads in the sand is not the appropriate path forward on this. We got to be as proactive as we can be, and I agree with your comment on leadership. These are difficult conversations to have, but we got to tackle them.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Alderman Aiken.
Yeah, I was being a bit of a devil's advocate with my previous question, but now I see that when you brought back that chart that I misstated it completely, at least with regard to sewer income and expenses. I kind of described it as though income exceeded expenses some years and vice versa other years, but it's a pretty consistent pattern I see now over the past 5-6 years.
And that's when inflation has really been at its toughest. And again, we're seeing it kind of moderate a little bit. I'm seeing prices in the pipe start to moderate, but still, with the cost of labor and all the other things that go into this, it just amazes me that it costs more than double to build a elevated storage tank just less than 10 years later.
And I mean, not to repeat what others have said, but I guess I share the sentiment that this is a tough subject because it's a substantial rate increase and it's a lot more significant than what people are used to in Ozark. And there may be some public outcry as a result of that. And all I can say to that is I think to the extent there is outcry, we deserve it because we've been, to quote one of my fellow aldermen, we've been kicking the can down the road for a long time. And now we're in a position where we have to really, the alternative is not between the increase and saving the money, it's between the increase or further kicking of the can and a greater increase in the near, mid, and long-term future. So I think it is time that we, not to mix metaphors here, but it's probably time to consider ripping the Band-Aid off. And so that's kind of my general sentiment at this point.
Alderman Hutchison.
Before my question, I want to preface it a little bit. What I hear is a deeper question than that. We need to be responsible with the sewer and water rates, and that is the question of growth. And I think I do understand and can explain that, that a lot of this is for maintenance. It's not all for growth. But I hear people saying, we don't want to grow anymore. We're losing what we value here. Our schools, we don't want to build more schools. We don't want to build another high school. We don't want to be overloaded. And so some of the pushback against some of this, I think, will be related to that. And so my question is, can none of this cost, or is it already placed on the developers as they build that will require additional cost? Shouldn't it only be fair that they pay more, or is that not allowed and not possible?
In fact, we've had two really good non-legislative sessions about this, about coming back with some additional impact fees to help share that burden. And it's just like any other type of problem solving. There's no one magic bullet. I think we're going to have to get very creative in how we go about this. I'm all for what we discussed with the impact fees. I'm all for passing along some of those costs to other entities that choose to develop here. But I think back to Alderman Aiken's point is that we've gotten ourselves here and we need to react. And then moving forward, we need to try to find other means and methods of, when we get to the point, to Alderman Snyder's point, of reevaluating each year, maybe those other items that we look to help increase our revenue can help us make an adjustment to that rate that lowers that down. That's the goal. But right now, it's a matter of catching up, and it's a matter of doing what's right, even though it's tough. It's paying out anyway, and we got to get ahead of it while it is still manageable.
Okay. Yes, Galloway.
Yeah, again, I want, I mean, the subject is not pleasant to receive or debate or think about, but I want to commend this administration for bringing the subject to the board's attention. Can't undo the past, and it's hard to know what policy considerations were being made to not bring it to the board attention by the prior administration, maybe the thought that the trend line would change or something like that. But I appreciate that it's being brought to us now.
Okay. Anyone else from the board? Okay. I appreciate the presentation and the clarity of it. Thank you for the time for that. Okay. Okay. At this time, anyone from the public who wishes to speak for this bill 3736, this is your opportunity to come to the mic if you speak for the bill. Okay, I'm not seeing movement. Anyone who's opposed to bill number 3736, this is your time to come to the mic to speak. I see no movement. Therefore, the public hearing for bill number 3736 is now closed, and it will be held over a future meeting. We have no new bills, but we do have one resolution to deal with tonight.
Yes, Your Honor, I move that we read resolution number 2034.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is that we read resolution 2034. That motion is made by Alderman Metcalf, is seconded by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss resolution 2034, do so by show of hands, please. And that does carry.
A resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Ozark, Missouri, approving one reappointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, and we'll welcome back our Director, Randall Whitman.
This is just a reappointment. This isn't a reappointment to address any absences. This is just a routine. What's this? Planning and Zoning Commission does?
Yeah. Any questions from the board? Okay. Nope, not seeing. Thank you, sir. Is anyone here tonight wishing to speak regarding resolution 2034? This is your time to come to the mic. Okay, I'm not seeing, therefore.
Yes, Your Honor, I move that we adopt resolution number 2034.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, the motion is that we adopt Resolution 2034. That motion was made by Alderman Metcalf, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on the motion to approve Resolution 2034, do so by show of hands. And that does pass. At this time, we look to our city administrator for updates.
Yes, Your Honor. Today was a beautiful 52 degrees outside. Sun was shining. Hard to believe that just a few days ago it was 12 degrees or colder, and we had between 7 and 8 inches of snow. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of the team members who participated in the snow removal and their actions and their activities over several days to help get the roads passable here in Ozark. And I really do appreciate their work. Just a reminder that our next board meeting will be on a Tuesday. That will be February 17th because we will be closed on Monday, the 16th, observing President's Day. And as a reminder, you know where you'll be, Your Honor. You will not be here. So the Mayor Pro Tem will be overseeing the meeting on the 17th. And that's all that I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anyone from the board, please? This is your time. Okay.
On the snow removal, I've talked with people from different areas of the state in southern Missouri. I think Ozark and the county and special roads, I think they really did stand out among many of the communities here. I know other communities did very well too, but this was really a tremendous job, this snowstorm.
They did a fantastic job. And thank you again to all those team members.
Oh, yes, because Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock, once I was on my driveway, I drove around, and every side street I saw was clear. And so we appreciate the work that they put into it. Okay, before we go to a closed session, I want to thank Alderman Eddie Campbell. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your mic.
I just had a question. If it would be possible to get an estimate of the cost of that snow removal, I think people have no idea at all, and I would really like to have that figure to share with other people, how much it costs the city to do that. They take it for granted, and it's a costly item.
Absolutely. We'll put that information together and get it to you.
Thank you.
No, Alderman Campbell has been a very faithful servant here to the city of Ozark through planning and zoning as alderman. He took on the responsibility, and unfortunately, it's requiring a lot of his time. And so he had let us be informed that tomorrow will be his last day of service as alderman. But I want to thank you for your service because you've been a role model of what it means to serve the city of Ozark. And I thank you for that very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. We do have a closed session tonight on legal issues, and therefore at this time we need a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. The motion is to go in closed session. It was made by Alderman Aiken, second by Alderman Snyder. Roll call, please.
Alderman Aiken.
Aye.
Alderman Campbell.
Aye.
Alderman Galloway.
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson.
Aye.
Alderman Metcalf.
Aye.
Alderman Snyder.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes. Motion carries. Yeah.
Hey, let's adjourn. Is there a motion that we adjourn?
Make motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
So we adjourn made by Alderman Snyder, second by Alderman Metcalf. On favor, raise your hand. Anyone opposed? It carries. Okay, we are adjourned.
I should have